watching as the world's unmade and call it all our golden age. Ooh, we are beyond control. Ooh, no vision can deliver us. We're golden calves until we're dust. Ooh, we're born upon a throne. Ooh, don't you know? Ain't nobody safe from us. All you ghosts are better off where you come from. And I set out to tame the land with lion teeth and jaws of lambs. Ooh, I'm drunk on the control. Ooh, until the fiction wastes away, until there's nothing left uncaged. Ooh, and I'm on my own. Ooh, don't you know? Ain't nobody safe from us. All you ghosts are better off where you come from.
Hey, we are here. It's D-Day. Hey, Mikerowaveable, how's it going?
Hey, Weathers. Happy Inauguration Day. This is exciting.
Yes,
I'm ready.
4 days in the waiting, or maybe even more than that
Yeah.
for some, you know.
And finally, this months-long peaceful transition of power is culminating in this event right here. The longest span of time we've ever experienced in our lives. Oh
I
my
know.
goodness. This is a long time coming.
Yep.
A long agony
And
has ended.
yeah, we're just waiting for 12 o'clock to happen, and the world starts from there, I guess. That's
Yeah.
my expectation. But who knows what happens, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe we're just we're running on empty hope or something like that, that any change will be better than what's happening right now. It's weird because like yesterday I was like on Facebook, and a guy I really respect and all that had basically posted to like tell people or remind people not to watch the inauguration because like he didn't want to support a felon and stuff. And it's sort of like, people are just so like, okay, I get that people have been so won over by the media and stuff, like
Oh yeah.
all this nonsense. Like I bet you my dad is still just, wishing Kamala won. And it's sort of like Dad, what do you mean?
Yeah, it's very difficult to have these conversations when things are so polarized between different camps, right? We have the right wingers over here and all their manifestations, and the left wingers are over here, and we don't talk to each other, and everybody watches different news sources and has these different opinions, and it's like this polarization, right? And yeah, and a lot of people in the leftist camp, they really don't understand to what extent the justice system was really weaponized under Biden to like attack the Republicans, Trump in particular, and all these other people.
And the media.
And
it's been nonstop, even like going even 8 years back during the first Trump presidency. I remember just watching the media and just their lies, like the way they just kind of frame everything out of proportion and all that, and like, going back to like the friend who basically believes that Donald Trump is a felon, doesn't understand like Well, yes, he's a felon, but they had to basically bend laws to do it.
That's right.
For and the thing, like one of them, oh, there's Barron Trump.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
Barron.
barely enough.
He's so
We have
tall.
C-SPAN. If you're wondering what we're watching, we're actually watching the live broadcast of the inauguration. So this is everyone being led to the rotunda, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, there's
I've
Ivanka.
never been to Washington. And I don't. Oh, yes, Ivanka. What? Who?
Yeah, there's
That's what.
Ivanka.
That's
There was
his daughter, right?
Yeah, there was Ivanka Trump and Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. and the towering Barron Trump, who's standing at like 6'8" right now, or 6'9", and he's only 18 years old.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's an enigma around him already. You
And
know, like
that's
everyone's expecting he's going to be eventually running or
oh,
something like
I'm
that.
sure he will. I have a feeling he will. Like just think of Barron Trump, right? He's lived through this time where his father became, the 45th president, and he grew up like, White House and like all this tumultuous stuff as a young man, and now he's 18 and he's witnessing his father's inauguration to become the 47th president. I mean, it's amazing. It just seems like, I'm sure so many commentators have said this, that Barron Trump is almost like bound to become a future president. It's almost like, I don't know. Maybe that's
Yeah.
wishful thinking, but
Well, I mean,
it'll be interesting.
there's people who really know him say he's a genius. That's one, and that he's really good with computers and social media. Apparently, he had consulted, or Donald Trump has consulted Barron on how to run his social media. Basically,
Cool.
suspect that he actually had a thing to do with getting him on like stuff like Joe Rogan and all that. So I'm sure we're
Interesting.
going to be hearing from him eventually.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like nobody's actually heard him talk. There was actually a few weeks ago. He would he people there was like this video where he actually spoke, and I think he was meeting. Oh, I know it. It was
When he met Dana
uh,
White, right? Wasn't that
yes,
the one?
when he met
Yeah.
Dana White, when Donald Trump introduced him to Dana White, and
Yep.
you actually heard his voice for once.
Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever heard him speak. Actually, you know
It's like,
that? I know.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
and I was like, whoa, and he was towering over everybody. It was pretty impressive.
and his voice was just like, wow. It's
Yeah.
like this ain't that there's like this video, actually they brought that up too, where he was like just a little kid who was just fascinated by the suitcase that his mother had just bought
Oh,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of cute.
Oh, there isn't that
So
Laura? I think that's Laura
hmm?
Trump there, who just came in.
Yep, she is the head of the RNC, right?
Yeah, that's right. The
She took
Republican
over for the
National
previous
Congress.
one, right, who is related to Mitt Romney.
Oh,
The daughter.
there's Zuckerberg
Oh,
too.
that's Zuckerberg. Yeah.
And Marco Rubio was there. I recognize him.
Oh, that's him. He's right behind, right
Yeah,
beside Lara. Yeah.
Laura. Who else is there? Oh, there's Dana White there. Oh no, that's Jeff Bezos, right? Right there with the bald head.
Yes, that's Jeff Bezos. Wow.
Wow.
He's in the rotund.
A lot of,
Wow.
I think that's him. Yeah, a lot of big
All the
names. Oh my
all
goodness.
the players are there, man. Even Zuck.
Yeah, and
You know.
Zuckerberg's got his new like trendy haircut. It's hilarious.
Oh, he's gone back to. I don't know what religion he is, but I think that's what they often refer to as the Jewfro. I believe. but yeah, it's like I think it's as a result of his endeavor into mixed martial arts. I believe that's what he's doing, or jujitsu or something along those lines, something like that. Anyways, a lot of important people in the spot. Oh, look at that! Look who's there.
Yeah, Mike Pence.
It's Mike Pence. Oh no, it's Crazy Nancy.
Oh
Is
no,
that?
that's
Is it?
someone
No,
else.
no. Okay,
Yeah,
looks like Crazy.
I
Who was
didn't
that?
recognize her.
No, no. He's coming alone, Mike Pence. Oh, and everyone's clapping for him. You know, kind of weird seeing him there and all that.
It
A
is.
lot of the right view him as basically a traitor, but
Oh yeah,
I get it.
I
get
know
it.
he doesn't look very happy.
No, well, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing these days. Is he in politics? Is he in anything?
You know what? I almost dismissed him, like as someone who's passed into history. Like
Well,
I didn't even care what he was doing.
he
Oh,
was
the
running in
clip!
the primary.
Look,
Oh, yeah.
it's Bill and Hillary.
Bill's back in good health, or at least health enough to view the, because he was sick a while ago, right?
Yes, he
during
was.
the holidays and all that. People were he got rushed to hospital apparently.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
I know, it's hilarious to see them there.
Oh my gosh, I just
Yeah.
I think Hillary is like a sociopath. I really do.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I remember when Bill Clinton was running and all that, and I did see that famous Arsenio Hall show where Bill Clinton came on with his saxophone and played, and everyone just said, "This is the guy."
Yeah,
I it was weird because like as soon as I saw that, and as soon as I saw the audience react to him, it's like, okay, he's the next president. Kind of thing.
exactly. That was such a PR coup, that bit where he's
Oh,
like
it bought me.
blue, blue, blue.
It bought me. I was
Oh,
like,
I
wow,
know.
this guy's artistic and all that. He's not just a politician and stuff. He's like a
Exactly.
human and all that. But I guess. Oh, look,
There
it's
she is.
Bush Jr. and wife, I believe.
Yeah.
Skip. That's that right? Skipper. Did I get that right? She had a weird name, I think. Or am I getting that all wrong?
No, you're right, because Barbara Bush is Bush the Elder's wife, right? But I can never remember
Yes.
her name.
Yeah, Barbara's the mother. Yeah. Bush the Elder, who also was president.
Yeah,
during our time.
HW.
Yeah. HW, right.
That's W.
Herbert Bush.
Yeah, that's
who lingers a lot around the archives of the FBI and all that, or used to before. Has he passed yet? I can't remember. Barbara Bush passed, that I know, but I can't remember if Bush Senior passed.
Okay, let me just check.
Right? Yeah. Oh, look at that! Look who's there.
Oh.
The big man himself. Big man.
Oh
of the
yeah,
Democrats.
because his transvestite wife is not going to attend. Michelle is
Oh,
not.
come on! You can't say that. You cannot say that. You know that.
Sorry, I'm just joking. That was a bit of humor.
Well, I heard apparently there's rumors that the marriage is not going well.
Yeah, because Michelle isn't going to attend today. It's just he's flying solo. He's come stag to this event.
Well, it's tradition that alive previous presidents go attend, like, the inauguration and all that.
Yeah.
So let's go into we talked a bit about a few things before and the after, just before we actually hit the real ceremonies while people are coming in. Few things that we came across, doing research for the event, not that we were really going into anything, just things around the event, for one, the security, right?
Oh,
Bring
yeah.
up that Crabtree one.
We could
right,
do
that
that.
you brought up the other day. Let's do that. Since we're just waiting here and we're just seeing a whole bunch of famous people come in. Let me bring up that Crabtree thing.
Yeah, because
so this one.
Yeah.
So there's been talk about, because traditionally, if we compared it to 2016 when it was outdoors and it was on the front of the Capitol building.
Yeah, that's right. On Capitol Hill,
people would come in and line up in the park in front of the Capitol Hill. And of course, he'd come up on the balcony and he would do swearing in front of everybody on that balcony and all that. But they changed that. They moved it indoors. It's not normally in the rotund, right?
That's right.
I believe. Okay.
There have been, over the years, there have been different locations. But yeah, in this particular case, the official reason is because the weather is so frigid in Washington.
It is.
And we're getting,
cold today.
and we're, here in Canada, where I am and where Mike is, like it's really freezing, and of course Washington D.C. has gotten a lot of that too. But probably the unstated reason is security, like all the security issues that are at issue, because, and we're not privy to that information, but we are, thanks to some intrepid reporting, privy to some of the things.
So what should you go through here? So over 24 hours, numerous colleagues and friends have asked me Secret Service sources, cancellation of the outdoor events for President-elect inauguration. I'll give you the unvarnished report, what I'm hearing. USSS sources discuss they're sticking, well, okay, they're not saying very much. Cancellations are simply weather related.
That's right.
They predicted that today was going to be very cold. Notice I'm wearing a very furry jacket here because it's pretty cold here.
Yeah,
right
I'm wearing
now
my
in LA.
sweater.
So yeah. And we're not, I mean, we're really not that far. We're pretty much in the weather path of Washington right now.
Yeah.
Like whatever we get, pretty much Washington gets. And it's nice and sunny outside, actually.
It is.
But it's frigid cold.
Just to note there, Mike, that the USSS, of course, is the United States Secret Service.
Ah, right.
And our reporter here was talking to her sources, I guess, who are privy to that, some of that inside information.
Well, give me a rundown. Like, give me a summary of what you found in this article.
Oh yeah, okay. So a few sources were saying that the extreme weather is a good cover to make things much safer because of the heightened security environment. So that's sort of the cover story, I guess you could say. And she goes on to say the Secret Service is a zero-fail mission, and there's absolutely no room for errors. The U.S. Secret Service operates in extreme weather environments all the time, but of course this is different because you have all these hundreds of thousands, if not more, people who are like converging on the area where, you know, Trump and Vance and everyone, all these VIPs are. So
right.
On Monday,
and not to mention Trump had 2 attempted assassinations in the past year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's, and if I scroll down a bit, Crabtree goes on to say, I'm told by a well-positioned source that there have been deep concerns among some federal law enforcement officials about the open spaces surrounding the Capitol where the ticket-holding inauguration attendees were supposed to be sitting. Whether that area and any area around the Capitol is going to be open to the public, and if so, why are there no magnetometers being positioned to screen people before they are let in? So that's one of the concerns.
What's a magnetometer? That's a metal detector, right?
Yeah, I took that to mean a metal detector for screening what people have on them and stuff like that. So that was one concern. Secret Service sources told Crabtree that no one will be allowed into those open spaces on the mall next to the Capitol. And they will have numerous post standers guarding the perimeter with many security sweeps near the Capitol complex. Everyone inside the Capitol, except members of Congress and the Supreme Court justices, will be screened through magnetometers. So, and, you know, and in case anybody decides to climb the fence with apparent or obvious intent, like if they have larceny in their heart, in other words, the Secret Service has really aggressive rules of engagement. So I think they're going to operate under the rule, you know, shoot first, ask questions later, so that you can feel like that, the tension, that the environment we're working under. Everybody is pretty tense about the security situation, and rightfully so.
Right. And comparing it to what happened last year, like during, for example, the first assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
This is totally different.
Exactly.
Like, first of all, at that one, he pretty much was outdoors, right? And they pretty much just laissez-faire everything around them.
That's right. And to the point where people in the crowd, as so many keen observers have pointed out, like the crowd at that event were like, look at that guy on the roof, you know?
Oh yeah.
You have like handheld, you have video footage of people saying, we can see the guy positioned on that rooftop. Who is that guy? You know, and this
There
is
was even a footage of from the point of view of maybe a body cam of one of the Secret Service agents or something like that. But you could see him run like on top of the roof
yeah,
from the stage
yeah.
and all that. This,
It
yeah.
is unreal.
And now here we are. Like if we go back to C-SPAN, everyone's indoors inside the rotund. The rotund is inside the Capitol building, I believe, right?
Yep, that's right.
It's like a central hallway, a corridor, or something like
It
that. Like
looks like
I
it.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty large. Apparently, it's got space for it's housed it's got 600 people currently,
Yeah,
which is the limit that they have currently right now, and all that. Which they've only limited to people of the government and very particular people of influence like Zuck and Bezos and all that stuff. So, I mean, all the important people of America are in that one room right now.
exactly.
So, security of utmost importance, of course, right? Because
Yeah,
if this were to go right now, I mean, that's it. No more America. Really, no
yeah.
more America. So
And
definitely
just
glad that they've upped their game on this. You know, you
and
were saying, sorry.
oh no, I'm just gonna say, just if we go back to the security situation,
Yeah,
one
go
of
ahead.
the things that Crabtree notes is that she says when she was on this this sort of press conference call with other reporters and the Secret Service, she was astounded that no one on this conference call asked about drone mitigation during the whole
Hmm.
45-minute call. Like no one asked about, what do we
Oop,
do
sorry.
if there are these, wayward drones that are flying around and ready to strike or something. So she thought that was amazing that nobody actually mentioned that. And that's just a security scenario with this the context now with drones being so readily available for military use, civilian use, and also the potential for there being like a terrorist strike using like a swarm of drones, and you
Well,
have
isn't
to,
that
and
didn't
that's what she's
Trump
talking about.
use one of those killer drones to eliminate one of the terrorist leaders or something
Oh
like that?
yeah, yeah. Like the United States military uses those drones all the time, right? For
Yeah.
military use, and even if you look to the Russia-Ukraine war, the use of drones has gone up exponentially, and
Well, yeah.
there's so much potential for like a malevolent actor like using a swarm of drones during inauguration to cause untold damage. And that's a good point that she makes. It's like why haven't we heard about any drone defensive stuff? I mean, we're not trying to fearmonger here.
No,
It's just it's a legitimate
it is,
security
and
issue at this point in time.
I think I came across this actually watching this post on X from Glenn Beck.
Oh
He
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
talking about here, I'll play it for a bit. He started talking about drones at one point.
I'm not getting any audio from Glenn.
All right. Oh,
No,
sorry. Oh, you can't hear it at all?
no, I can't.
Oh, wait. I know why. Uh, it's odd. Could be because it's X or something. But anyways, he in this video, could be because it's X. We should have probably found this. Oh, wait. Can I get here? No, we have to be, of course, a subscriber. It's fine.
Well,
Never mind. Anyways, few things he mentions from he mentioned the thing about Trump hiring his own private security for the
mhm,
event,
that's
right?
right.
And another thing that I came across, I'm pretty sure it's this one, but there was something that happened over the weekend regarding drones, and that DJI, if you're into drones, I'm not really into drones. I've whenever I look for, I was really curious about drones, and then the name that keeps coming up is DJI, which apparently is a Chinese company. And
Yeah.
over the weekend, I believe, they had just removed the geofencing protection on the control system of the drone. And so what that means is that previously there'd be these locations where you would basically lose control of your drone if you're to cross these geo fences, essentially. So stuff like around an airport, for example, right?
Mhm.
That if you tried to push past this geolocation, the UI would just basically shut off and then they would just land
Yeah, they
the
just
drone.
drop. Yeah.
Well,
And
they
that's
wouldn't drop. They would just go on auto land or
oh, okay.
return to, they would go like return to home
Okay.
or something like that. And apparently, the Chinese company DJI has now removed that conveniently just this last weekend.
And that's worrisome
Yeah,
because like you would the potential is there for a scenario where like a swarm of drones like descends without
I
any
know.
fail safes on like a vulnerable crowd or room of VIPs, and that's one of the things. Like a few years ago, I watched this really kind of chilling video that was put out by some academics at MIT, and they had some scenarios about the use of really small, even palm-sized drones, like the lethal potential for like a swarm of these machines going in and causing a mass casualty event just using um like a little bit of plastic explosive. So the
Right.
potential is there for to pack like even millions of these machines into like something like a rental truck in the back of like a Penske truck. And incidentally, on the weekend, someone was reporting, I can't remember who it was, but like a dodgy Penske truck was on the streets. But I mean, that was pure speculation. But
Right.
in a drone attack scenario, that is something that you could see happening, right? Loading in all these drones in the back of a semi and then just parking it and then
And it's
letting
not
them
fiction
go.
either. It's
No,
not fiction either.
it isn't.
Because the US military, like we said previously, does this and actually have eliminated a terrorist. I can't remember who, but I remember there was was it Soleimani that he did that he did
Yeah,
that on?
yeah. I mean, a lot of these guys have been taken out by drone
Drones.
strikes. And the
And
thing is,
my
like in the in
go
the
ahead.
Ukraine-Russia war, like drones, like even commercial drones, even from the company that you just mentioned, the Chinese company, they've been using these drones all over the place on the battlefield. It's become this this layer of complexity in the battle space with drones, like using flamethrowers. I've seen the footage,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
even and the Russians have their own versions, like on these
Well,
tethers, like these wired tethers, and they go out and stuff like that. And then, yeah,
that ain't fiction also because like I've
no,
seen videos. You can watch the videos on YouTube, but there are now drones that basically are used to take out stuff like wasp nests. And these drones have actually flamethrowers
yep,
on them. So they would just fly up like near a tree and just like literally like let loose like flames on like hornets nests and stuff. So,
yeah,
it's not fiction, you
yeah.
know.
I've seen the footage, like as well on the battlefield where trenches were being cleared by a drone equipped with a flamethrower, and it's like, what? We are in the
No,
future.
yeah,
Yeah,
we are in the
it's
future.
unreal. Um, and and we bring this up because there's so many implications for the event today and all
Right.
the people around, and so yeah, that's
Well,
what yeah,
well, I know when I saw the report, I was thinking in my mind, well, will crap happen like as soon as Monday? Luckily, nothing has happened.
I
It
know
seems like they're all indoors, so it's all good and all that, and
everything's fine.
everything's fine.
we're just we're just speculating at this point, but these
Right.
are things that everybody has to or should be worrying about at this point.
Well, now that we're like 30 minutes away from the actual event that we've been waiting for,
Yeah.
so we talked a bit about stuff leading towards it, and I was watching all this morning, and I saw all the people lining up, and they have everyone like secured and fenced in and coming in through checkpoints and everything like that.
Yeah.
As far as I know, everything seems normal. I'm watching C-SPAN right now. Everyone's just waiting for the event to happen and all that. There's actually a dude singing right now and
Okay.
all that. But that's like leading up to it. But leading after it, there's apparently going to be a lot of activity. One of
Yes.
them, of course, being this stuff, executive orders.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
So,
there's a
what
lot
what
there.
are what are executive orders for people who don't know? Asking you.
Oh yeah. Well, so executive orders are essentially, um, I wouldn't. They're specially designed for the president to take necessary legislative steps that come into effect. I'm not sure if it's instantaneously or not, but we have a whole litany here, and it basically, this list encapsulates like Donald Trump's platform, everything he's been
Right.
talking about um, during the campaign, from security issues, immigration, energy policy, certain like restrictive things that the Biden administration put into place. So
Right.
these are orders that are issued directly from the president's office.
Without
And
any legislation bodies getting involved or anything like that,
that's
basically, right?
right. Like they're special
Okay.
orders, I guess you could say.
Well, here's a. They say it's going to be 200 plus today that he's going to be
Yeah.
signing,
So we're getting
and
started hardcore right away, day one, just
right,
as he's been saying.
and just to go over it, he did that in 2016, and Biden did that in 2020. To like, I can't remember what exactly he did. I know he went and he just basically signed off on stuff that basically reverses everything Trump when he came in. So
That's right.
this is something that presidents do when they come in,
Yeah.
apparently. So by Eric Doherty. I think he lists a few of them here. Let's go through a few of them. Declare emergency at the border, issue proclamation closing the border. Very needed.
Yeah.
So, so basically, once he signs off on that, people can actually start defending the border, whereas they were just basically letting people into the border currently, I believe. Let's see. Designate cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. I'm surprised they're not even terrorists at this point.
I know, and this is really great in a sense that it'll give anybody dealing with cartels some extra powers, let's say. Because once an organization is designated a terrorist organization, you can do more things in order to
You
protect
get more
yourself from
money,
them.
basically, right?
Yeah.
You get more funds to actually do stuff. Gotcha. Like almost like a tragedy happening, like the LA fires, right? Like basically, someone Trump could sign something that could like allocate money instantly without any Congress or Senate involved, right? Like
Yeah,
boom,
just
like
whew.
designate. Remain in Mexico, catch and release will be reinstated. This was something that Trump had brought in his previous presidency, and that
Mhm.
is that people coming through the southern border, instead of being taken in and put in internment camps inside the borders of the United States, they're actually being pushed to Mexico, and that's it, right? They aren't coming into the country like they were for the last 4 years, and basically being released with an intention to come back to court to actually assess their um, what landed immigrant emergency status or whatever they call it, right? Basically,
Yep.
because right now I believe they're just coming in, and once they're taken to the internment camps, they're given monies, a cell phone, and shipped to whatever destination.
Yeah. And that's been a disastrous and so expensive for the United States. This influx of people that are coming in illegally, and then they're essentially being supported with all these benefits and per diems and all the stuff, and that's going to stop.
Right. And they're being basically, from what I understood, they're basically being sent to essentially poor conservative areas.
Yep, they're being
Is what I
used.
understood.
They were being used in a very cynical way to swamp Republican areas, and I mean, the Democrats really won't admit openly to that, but that's what they were doing. I mean, one of
Well,
the
they
biggest
like to
stories that
confuse.
we were following before the election, of course, was the events in Springfield, Ohio, and a
Right.
lot of those people, that was like specifically about Haitians, but it's
Oh, right.
happened so many.
They're eating the dogs, right?
Yeah, and that's just one instance of that, and a lot of
And
people from all over the world were getting through that open border from Mexico, not just
and
Mexico.
the left loves to confuse people by confusing them with immigrants, like landed real immigrants who
Legitimate
belong here,
immigrant.
legitimate immigrants who've been accepted for their landed status, no matter what, but legally,
Yeah,
you know.
who've
And of
taken
course,
all the
like,
necessary steps to get into the country legally. Yeah.
right, right. And they love to do that because then it gets all the landed immigrants all afraid. And also, not only landed immigrants who have already become citizens, because then we get all kinds of people who say, well, you're racist because I'm a landed immigrant. And it's sort of like, well, yes, you're a landed immigrant. And no, we're not talking about you. But of course, the left loves to confuse that a lot. And so we get them coming in. And when they say, these illegal immigrants are eating the dogs, all of a sudden, Haitians who are here, for example, legally, think that we're talking about them, but we're not.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah, there's
Um,
a difference to be made, but there's a distinction to be made between the two groups. And yeah, you're quite right, Mike. Like, so often that distinction isn't made by the left, and they do that on purpose.
yes, they do. Of course, that's how they get people. That's how they get people like my parents worried about voting for conservatives and stuff, or not even considering like what exactly. Well, here in Canada, right, we have our own version of the left and right. We have the liberals. They're actually called liberals here and not Democrats.
That's right.
And we actually have conservatives. And here they're called progressive conservatives. That's kind of an oxymoron, but it works for us. For us, all intents and purposes, that's the right kind of thing, from what I understand.
Yeah, like, yeah, the Canadian Conservative Party at the federal level, and you have these, and of course, every province has their different parties, but they're more or less along the same lines as our federal party system. You have the NDP and the Liberals, the Conservatives, and there's some regional parties as well. But yeah,
Right. And it's the same government, the leftist liberal government, that basically has their government in suspension right now.
that's
We have
right.
no government at the moment because
We're
of the liberals.
we're flying solo, and like Mike and I have talked about, Weathers and I have talked about a few times now, that our parliament is suspended and Trump is being inaugurated today, and he's getting to work right away, and
Right.
there's
And of course,
nothing
our
that we can
the
do.
Governor Justin Trudeau of the 51st state of America is freaking out. And actually, I was surprised that he's actually threatening Trump with like doing something radical if he were to issue the tariffs that Trump has been talking about on
That's
Canada.
right.
And all that.
And he's
I'm not too sure why he can do that at the moment because apparently he's stepping down, right?
and that's what's hilarious. It's so funny. He resigned, sort of, but
Sort of.
apparently he's allowed to make announcements about retaliatory tariffs against Trump and United States, like products coming in. And this is just ridiculous. I'm disgusted with our
Well, even to
government.
the point, like you mentioned the other day, when you had mentioned that there was basically uh, uh, Trump, no, Justin is going to bring us into a unity situation or unity
That's right.
between the provinces and all that, because apparently the provinces are now going to Trump and meeting him at Mar-a-Lago and discussing what they will do if Justin were to do that, is what I
Well,
heard.
yeah, like Danielle Smith, our premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith went down last week and met with Trump. She was apparently a guest of that business fellow Kevin O'Leary. And Danielle Smith is, I think it looked like they had a really convivial, productive discussion. She gave hints about what those discussions were about. And of course, they were about Alberta energy. They were about um, coming to an agreement with Trump about exporting Alberta oil, natural gas into, because as it stands, so much of Alberta's oil does go down to the United States and gets refined, and an end product in its refined form is produced in the United States, and that's a really key trading partnership between Alberta and by extension Canada and the United States. There's a lot of jobs on both sides of the border that are tied to that.
Yes.
And she, because our federal government is so stupid and so inept vis-a-vis the Americans right now, she went and had to do it herself. And so that it's turned into this national unity crisis, because if Trudeau comes in and wants to block that relationship, the Albertans are just going to push to just separate from Canada, and I don't blame them, because
I know. They've
that's
been
how
prevented
they
from
survive.
selling their oil for the last decade, basically.
That's
Is what
right.
I heard.
Well, yeah, I mean, everything that the Trudeau regime has done has been so hostile to business and to the extractive industries. There's this weird snobbery in like Quebec, Ontario about Alberta, and it's causing all these problems, right?
Yep.
Um, and
Which
yeah,
is why we look south. Both of us are looking south for some form of hope that
that's right.
perhaps the change over in the south will eventually come over here. That's
Exactly.
my hope, at least.
And and Canada is notoriously terrible at interprovincial trade. That's been something that's plagued our country for decades. Like, it's easier to for Alberta or even BC, all the other provinces, to deal with the United States rather than to ship something or sell something or trade something from Ontario to Alberta or BC. It's ridiculous. There's all these, it's like we're curtailing our own interprovincial trade. So then it just makes sense for these provinces to deal with the Americans. And that's something
Yep.
we won't ever seem, we can't seem to resolve that.
Well, and it's like, well, you can't really cut us off from the Americans, because who else do we trade with? Where else are we
Exactly.
going to get money outside of the country? Because we're
Exactly.
obviously not selling to Europe.
Yeah, and
you know.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like the Trudeau regime, the Biden regime, the Obama regime have been really anti-pipeline, because one of the keys to exporting oil overseas is these pipelines that get it to the ports. But if you don't, the different pipelines that have been in the news, like Trans Mountain, and I can't even remember the other ones, but that's the key to getting these foreign markets. But if you can't bring it to port and you can't transport it, then you can't do it. So
And
that's
that's
another.
where America has been turning to their enemies, for example, to buy oil, like
Yeah.
Venezuela and Middle East somewhere, I guess Iran,
Yeah.
or one of those countries that deal in oil. I believe Biden actually bought some fuel from Iran or something like that, right?
I'm sure he did. And that's one of the things that Trump, right here in this list that he's probably going to sign later today, he's talking about ramping up domestic production of oil. So he's going to get
Yep.
rid of some of these restrictions that have been layered on top of other regulations that curtail, like, the domestic production of American oil and stuff like that. So he's going to, like, drill baby drill. I mean, that's been one of those things that he's said a few times, and he's going to start to really intensify oil production in the States.
Look, we're coming to the 10 minutes
Oh.
before the 12, so I'll switch back to the C-SPAN. We'll continue this discussion after the inauguration, because I realized that the inauguration is probably not going to take the whole hour. So we'll watch the inauguration, and we'll switch back to some of the stuff we wanted to talk about before the inauguration and all that. And we'll probably lead back into the list of executive orders, I guess. We'll pick up on that when we come back.
And
So let's switch back. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. I found this explanation of what an executive order is, because I flubbed it so terribly. But
do you want to read it out?
Yeah, sure. It's not too long.
Good.
What is an executive order? It is a written order issued by the president to the federal government, which does not require congressional approval. Orders range from dramatic reverses of policy, like Trump's approval for the construction of oil pipelines. What else? To Barack Obama's instructions on like the half-day closing of government departments, blah, blah, blah. Authority.
And of course, the ones that Joe Biden signed off without he himself realizing what they were.
Exactly. Exactly. And just this last paragraph, authority for issuing the orders is rooted in Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, which states, quote, "The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America," end quote. So
that gives him the ultimate power over all the other bodies, I believe. All the other governing bodies.
Yeah, and there's checks and balances that come into play, of course, even after these are issued sometimes, but I mean, we don't have to get into that. They sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't. But anyway.
All right. Let's put some volume on this. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Oh, not yet.
Right. Can't hear it?
Nope.
Wait. That's weird. You can't hear it at all?
I cannot.
Why can't you? Are you using Chrome?
Yep.
Okay. That's strange. Wait, let me try stop sharing and reshare.
Okay.
Sometimes it fucks up, so let me bring it back up.
No problem.
How was that? You hear that? You can't hear it, right?
No, I can't.
That's strange. Oh, wait. Is that it?
Nope.
Withstand
there, I can hear that.
Twists and turns of time.
Sorry about
they
that.
wrote it to guide us and to preserve forever our right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But as much as the truths and principles enshrined in our Constitution remain the same, our democracy promises the American people power to change, to chart their own destiny. That's the beauty. That is the importance of democracy. It allows the endurance, the permanence of a nation through change. It allows nations
I'll be right back.
like our United States both to avoid the obstacles and to seize the opportunities God has placed before us, all while staying true to our founding principles. Today is our country's 60th inauguration ceremony. Like all the others before it, it is a celebration of our right to set our uniquely American course. The past several years have been trying at times for many, many Americans, and also for the nations of the free world that we humbly strive to lead. In November, Americans chose again to steer this nation towards greatness, the secure, safe, and prosperous future that our founders envisioned for all of us. And today, we celebrate not only their decision to do so, but also the simple right and wisdom of a free people to make their own choice so that their nation might endure. And now, allow me to welcome Archbishop Timothy Dolan and Reverend Franklin Graham, who will deliver our invocation. Please rise.
We'll let
Be still.
we'll let the
And know
ceremonies
that
happen.
I am God, supreme among the nations, supreme on the earth. Let us pray. Remembering General George Washington on his knees at Valley Forge, recalling Abraham Lincoln at his second inaugural, with malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right. Remembering General George Patton's instructions
You can hear everything,
to his
right?
soldiers
Yeah,
as they
perfect.
began the
Okay,
Battle
cool.
of the Bulge 8 decades ago. Pray. Pray when fighting. Pray alone. Pray with others. Pray by night. Pray by day.
Archbishop
Observing
of
the
New York.
birthday of the Reverend Martin Luther King, who warned, without God, our efforts turn to ashes. We, blessed citizens of this one nation under God, humbled by our claim that in God we trust, gather indeed this inauguration day to pray for our President Donald J. Trump, his family, his advisors, his cabinet, his aspirations, his vice president, for the Lord's blessings upon Joseph Biden, for our men and women in uniform, for each other whose hopes are stoked this new year, this inauguration day. We cannot err in relying upon that prayer from the Bible, upon which our president will soon place his hand in oath, as we make our own the supplications of King Solomon for wisdom as he began his governance. God of our fathers, in your wisdom you set man to govern your creatures, to govern in holiness and justice, to render justice with integrity. Give our leader wisdom.
Sorry to silence it a little bit. Just we got to keep it transformative.
Yeah, no, understood.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I'm not anti-religion here. Sorry for all those folks who are religion-oriented.
That he may know your
Because we're trying to keep. Oh, look, it's Baron.
Baron.
God.
Oh, and JD.
That's JD, and he's going, and this is sort of prefacing his oath of office recitation. So JD Vance has to.
Amen.
He has to.
He has to go first, I believe.
Yeah, he has to be
That's what
sworn.
it
He
says.
gets sworn in first.
Yeah, the vice president has some
Mr.
weird
President,
things about him.
the last
Like,
4 years, there are times I'm sure you thought it was pretty dark. But look what God has done. We praise him and give him glory.
they have like special abilities, like that are over the president himself, I believe.
Mhm.
Like Mike Pence, when he did that famous, like he
Let
could
us
have
pray.
helped Trump but didn't kind of thing. He had like that kind
Our
of
Father
power.
and our God,
Yeah.
And then
has said,
on the other
"Blessed
top of
is the
that, like
nation
Kamala Harris
whose
would
God
basically
is the
be the
Lord."
deciding vote in the Senate
As the
because they
prophet
basically
Daniel
had a
prayed,
50-50
"Blessed be the
going,
name of
right?
God forever and ever.
Yeah, I'm not
For
too
wisdom and
clear
might is.
about all his
He changes the times and the
abilities,
seasons.
but yeah,
He
you're
removes
quite right.
kings. He raises up kings. He gives wisdom to the
Because that's
wise
something the president
and
can't do.
knowledge
It's the
to
vice
those who have
president who
understanding.
actually
Our
breaks
Father,
ties. And
today,
I actually am
as
not sure if
President
that's
Donald
the
J.
Senate
Trump takes the oath
or
of
the
office
Congress.
once again, we
Well,
come to say
anyways,
thank you,
we'll have
O
to look
Lord
that up.
our God. Father, when Donald Trump's enemies thought he was down and out, you and you alone saved his life and raised him up with strength and power by
That was
your
crazy,
mighty
wasn't it?
hand.
Oh
We
my
pray
goodness,
for
yeah.
President Trump that you'll watch over, protect,
No wonder they
guide,
moved it
direct him.
indoors.
Give him
Oh,
your
it's
wisdom
Billy Graham.
from your throne.
Oh, no, he's not.
That's
No.
I think that's the
We ask
son,
that you
isn't
would
it?
bless
It's the
him
son, yes.
and that
Is
our
Probably
that-
the son.
nation
I
would be
think-
Because
blessed
I
through
believe
him.
Billy Graham's dead.
Yeah,
We
that's.
also ask
I
that
think
you
that's
bless the
Franklin
Clarence Malone
Graham, his son.
and
I'll
his
just
Yes.
look that
lady.
up.
We
You're right.
thank you for
I think you're
the
right.
beauty, the warmth, and grace
Sounds like him.
that she shows
It
in
does. He
going
looks
through
like
the
him. I was
temptations
thinking the same thing
of
you
the
were,
whole
though.
world.
Is that Billy Graham?
We thank you for Vice
No, but it
President
must be
J.D.
related. It
Vance
must be his son.
and his wife Usha and their young family. May he be a strength to President Trump,
Yeah,
to
it
stand
is.
beside him,
Yeah.
to hold
Okay.
up his arms like Aaron held up the arms of
I
Moses in the
I
midst
remember
of
growing
battle.
up, and
The
they would do
prophet
the Billy
Samuel
Graham
reminded
thing
the
like
people,
early in the morning, and
it
back
was
when I
you
didn't
that
know
brought
anything
them
about
up
anything,
from the
I would
land
just
of
Yeah.
like sit
Egypt.
there and watch
And he
the
said,
whole
now
like Billy
stand
Graham thing.
still,
Yeah.
that you may
There wasn't
reason with me
anything to really
before the
watch
Lord.
back then, you know?
So, Father,
Oh
we
man, he
take
looks
this
like his
moment to
father,
stand
eh?
still,
Holy
Oh
cow.
yeah,
to
yeah.
remember the great things that you have done for this nation. Thank you for the protection, the bounty, the
Well, he's the
freedom
head because it
that
says
we so enjoy.
Evangelistic Association Chair, so
Yeah.
he must be the head
We
of his
remember
old congregation.
to
I
keep
guess.
our eyes fixed
And
on
there's
you.
Barron again.
And may our
Yeah.
hearts be inclined
There's
to your
actually
voice.
something about Barron
We know
that
that America
I've
can
come
never be
across.
great
I don't know
again
if you know the
if we
author
turn our backs on you.
Ingersoll, something
We
Ingersoll.
ask for your help.
He was
We
back.
pray
It
all
was
of
a
this in the name
actually.
of the King of Kings.
I'll be back. I'll be right
and
back.
Lord of
Yeah, no
Lords,
problem.
your Son, my Savior, and our Redeemer, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Associate Justice Kavanaugh to administer the Vice Presidential Oath of Office.
I was trying to look for something. I have it in my collection. Did it go silent? Or they're just waiting?
No, they're gonna swear in JD Vance just momentarily
okay.
here.
All right. Is that his kids? Oh, it must be his kids. I believe
Yeah, that's
his wife, right?
there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's married to an Indian woman, I believe.
Yeah. And their kiddos, yeah.
Yep. He was a surprise pick.
Please
I
raise
have to
your right
admit.
hand
And he's been very
and
good.
repeat after me.
Oh yeah.
I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear
I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
on which
I
I'm
like
about
him.
to enter.
Me
on which
too.
I'm about to enter.
So help
I saw
me
him.
God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Vice President.
All right. First time I saw him was actually on Tim Pool. He was on his show like many, many years ago. Had no idea this guy was going to become vice president back then. And I thought he was really well spoken. I believe he was on there because there's a movie in Netflix that is about him, right? The Hillbilly Elegy. It's about
Oh, nice.
his
I haven't seen
grandmother.
that yet.
Please welcome Chief
Yeah,
Justice
apparently
Kavanaugh
it's really
to
good.
administer
And
the
he
Presidential
wrote
Oath
it.
of Office.
And it's about the grandmother who took care of him, who actually had problems with alcoholism.
Oh, very
So,
interesting.
yeah, he's one to look up. He's a very interesting person. He's really well spoken.
And he's been
Very
really
intelligent.
good. He's been really good going into the enemy camp and challenging the mainstream media
Please
wherever
raise
he
your
goes.
right hand and
Oh,
repeat
There
after
you
here's the
go.
main event.
Moment we've been waiting
I,
for.
Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
Oh, look
that
at
I will
Melania.
faithfully execute
the office of President of the United
She's
States
like a black
President
Carmen
of the
Sandiego.
United States,
Yeah.
and
You
will,
know,
to the
it's,
best of my ability,
well,
Scott-
and will
I guess
to the best of my ability
preserve,
we
protect,
should listen
and
to this.
defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr.
There we go. Incredible. Finally, it's done.
Finally, the world sighs in relief.
Oh, there we go. Pop the presidential team. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. It's done. How do you feel, man?
I feel good. I feel a sense of relief that it's finally done. I mean, that peaceful transition of power was agonizing.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely the longest 2 months of our lives.
It was a little touch and go, even going up to the election itself. You know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I stayed up till 3 to make sure that none of this bullshit happened like last time. You know.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did. I know we were hanging out that day.
Yeah, yeah. This is why we do this
That's
that night.
right.
It's all about that night. There's Baron.
Wow.
This is going to be iconic one day. We're going to be looking back, and it'll be Baron doing that. I have a
I
feeling.
I think so too. I
Oh,
think
that's it.
that's amazing.
All right. We so I believe his next. Oh wait, let me put it back on. Is he doing something? Oh, they're just playing stuff. Okay. I believe he's supposed to eventually go to the Capital One Stadium where he had the rally last night, I believe.
Hmm.
And he's supposed to be meeting with the people who came down to the Capitol to watch the inauguration and say a few words, I believe.
Yeah, he's
What are they
going
doing?
to.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
It's like a naval choir?
yeah,
Must be. It's the anchors, right?
the U.S. Marine Band.
Oh, wow.
So the United States Marines, I guess.
Look at that. Oh, it's Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. Cool. Wow. Well, this is way more peaceful than it was last time.
I know. Good thing they moved it indoors, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it would have been a lot more grander had it been outdoors, but, you know, you can't really take that chance these days.
That's right. And I think historically there have been different locations throughout the years where the inauguration has taken place. And yeah, the next event is the inaugural address that Weathers alluded to a few moments ago, and Trump will give his speech. And I'm not sure if Vance is going to speak or not, but he might.
They might. I mean, we can just keep talking till stuff happens and all that. I'm sure C-SPAN will cover it all. Oh, this is a Naval Academy Glee Club. Neat.
Mm.
And a lot of people are really uber relieved this happened.
Oh, I'm sure.
I remember like the one in 2016 just seems so grim. I
It
don't know if you remember any
was.
of that.
I
You know,
do. It was outside. It was gray.
it was cold.
It was cold. And there was so much stuff going on after the event and before the event. I mean, there have been some protests leading up to today, but
Right.
I just don't feel like it's at the same scale as it was back then.
No, they lost a lot of the wind from the election, I think.
I think they did too, and I'm glad of it.
Yeah. Stuff is just getting out of control. This is going to be a famous picture, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back to Trump, what I was trying to dig up back there is that I actually have a book by, I can't remember the guy's name, but this was written like in the 1700s. I don't know if you know the story of Baron Trump.
No, I don't.
No? Interesting. Let me dig that up. What is this happening? All right. So I'm just reading here. The author is Ingersoll Lockwood, and he wrote a book in, sorry, not the 1700s, in 1889 and 1893. Okay.
Okay.
And it's a series of books, and the series of books was called The Adventures of Baron Trump.
Ah.
Let me just give you a little bit here. Lockwood published first novel, Travels and Adventures of Little Baron Trump and His Wonderful Dog, Burglar. Its sequel, Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, in 1893, the novel accounts the adventures of German boy William Heinrich Sebastian von Trump, who goes by Baron Trump. He discovers weird underground civilization, offends the natives, flees from entanglements with local women, and repeats this pattern until arriving back home at Castle Trump. This was in the 1800s. And wouldn't surprise me, that's where Baron got his name, if you ask me.
That could be.
Right. And apparently, in the series, Baron Trump becomes president. So figure that out.
Oh yeah, so it's already written.
It's already written somewhere. It's crazy though. And at first I did not believe it, but if you guys look it up, just look up. It's Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey.
That's really cool.
Yep.
And I
there was
guess
something in here that actually mentions. Yeah, there's something in here that's supposed to mention that he actually. Here it is. The last. Here it is. It's a series of books, right? So in the series of books, let's see. James Fuller wrote in Political that Baron Trump's precious and restless is precocious, restless, and prone to get in trouble. He often mentions his massive. Oh, he's saying something. Let's go back to this.
Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices
Bring it up.
of the United States.
You can hear it, right?
Supreme
Yeah, I
Court.
can.
President Clinton,
There we
President
go.
Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens.
This is the
The
inaugural
golden
address.
age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end.
Yes.
Amen to that.
Exactly.
And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world. And America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America.
That's true.
As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars
He's
of our
talking right in
society
front of
You
him.
guys
broken
out
and
there.
seemingly incomplete.
I'm looking at
No,
you.
right in
Right-
here,
Now
right
have a
in this
government
room.
that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions
And he ain't
that have
kidding about that.
illegally entered our country from all over
The
the
left
world.
has so,
We have a government
you know,
that has
misguided the
given
public on
unlimited
the
funding
happenings
to
of
the
that.
defense of foreign borders,
They have blood on
but
their hands.
refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly.
Yeah, it's true.
And other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently,
Yeah,
Los
FEMA dropped the
Angeles, where
ball.
we're watching fires still tragically burn. From weeks ago, without even a token of defense, they're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now.
As per our
They
last
don't have a
show.
home any longer.
Yep.
That's interesting.
That's right.
But we can't let this happen.
Look at
Everyone
Biden.
is
Look at
unable
Biden, man.
to
He's like,
do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times
That
of
is so
disaster,
weird.
Yet more money is spent on it than any
He must
country
feel
anywhere in the
really,
world.
really awkward right
And we
now.
have an education
If he's
system
even
that
thinking at
teaches
all.
our children
probably
to be
doesn't even know
ashamed
where
of
he
themselves
is.
in many cases,
That's true.
to hate our
That
country
is very true.
despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly.
He ain't kidding, man.
My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over.
Wow. How refreshing to hear a leader talk like this. Oh my God.
Not apologize.
No.
Our liberties and
No
our nation's
apologies.
glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I've
That's
learned
true.
a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish
His
to
hasn't
stop
even
our
begun.
cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again.
Woo. Look at who's not standing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
See the Biden and
I know.
co.
Yep.
That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day.
Awesome.
Liberate us from the left, please.
It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states. And the popular vote, we won by millions of
Never
It's a-
before.
It's a
For
huge
Republicans.
mandate. Huge
Yep.
mandate.
To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor. But in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true.
How could you say no to that, man? It's not just the blacks. It's not just everybody. All colors. Just as long as you're American, man. It's the way it should be.
It's definitely a message of unity,
Is now returning
not
to
division. How
America,
refreshing.
and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country. We will not forget our Constitution. And we will not forget our God. Can't do that. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense.
That's us. No.
First, I will declare a national
Gotta shut up for the
emergency
prez.
at our southern border.
Right. I wish. Oh, thank God. Yeah, shut the border down, please.
Yeah, that's number 1.
How they could ignore it for so long.
Will immediately
It's been an ongoing issue that wasn't addressed for decades and decades.
Millions and millions
Well, it even
of
got worse in the
criminal
last 4
aliens
years.
back to the places from which they
And
People
it's-
won't acknowledge that.
And the only
will
person who brought
reinstate
into play
my
is this man right here.
Remain in Mexico policy.
Not even the borders are.
Yeah, there she is right there.
Mhm.
I will end the practice
And the
of
AIs are.
catch and release.
Oh, yeah. Yep. He's doing
And
that
I
today.
will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country.
Wow.
Yeah, finally.
Aid to the civil power.
Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations.
I can't understand how come they're not terrorists at this point.
Maybe that they were too useful to the establishment. Maybe.
And
it's not even drugs. It's what?
And
Fentanyl,
by
human
invoking
trafficking.
the Alien
Yeah,
Enemies
human
Act
trafficking.
of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities.
Excellent. That's excellent news. Because that needs to happen.
Well, that's
As Commander in
that's really
Chief,
what
I
won
have
him the
no
vote.
higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
They really need to do that. No more buying crappy oil from Venezuela or Iran. I mean, that's just stupid.
And he's lifting that restriction that the previous administration had put in and under Obama
America
as well.
will be a manufacturing nation once again, and we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. Going to use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers.
Yes.
Look at that.
There's a hat for you. Yeah.
To buy the car of your choice. We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with their vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens.
Including probably Canada. We'll see what happens going forward.
We'll see.
We are
Well, we might become the
establishing
5th worst state, so who knows?
External
That
Revenue
would be
Service
amazing.
to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will
Try
be
not to be
massive
anti-Canada here,
amounts
but
No,
of
no, no,
right
money
I'm
now
not.
into
we
our
ain't
treasury
doing too well.
coming from
We're on
foreign
life
sources.
support.
Exactly.
We are on
American
life support,
dream will
folks.
soon
So
be back and thriving like never before to restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government. My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
Doge. Doge.
Elon Musk and co.
Oh, Vic.
Vivek, yeah.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
All right.
Woo!
Yeah. Shut it all down, man.
Excellent.
Say what the F we want, man.
It's amazing.
Bring back the right to offend.
Woo!
Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. Something I know something about.
That's true.
We will not allow that to
Woo!
happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice.
Oh, yeah.
Under the
He got the right people in the right place to do
constitutional
that.
rule of law.
Pam Bondi. And who else?
And
Kash
we are
Patel, I
going to
believe, right?
bring law and order back to our cities. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life.
Yeah. Get rid of it, man.
We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
And we talked about that last show.
Well, if they're
As
doing
of
it,
today,
we're going to be doing it. That's the
it
one
will
I say.
henceforth be
Because the only reason
official
why we're doing it
policy
is
of
because
the
they're
United
doing it.
States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Yay.
This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay.
Whoa. That's
Yep.
huge, huge,
He
huge,
ain't
huge.
messing around, man.
And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately.
Yes.
Thank
Excellent.
God.
That's about purging the woke
Our
military.
armed forces will be freed to focus
There's no
on
woke
their
in military, man.
sole mission,
No
defeating
space for it.
America's enemies.
Yes.
There's nothing social about being a lethal force. You got to carry the big stick sometimes, man.
That's right. That's what they're there for.
Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
No more wars, man. I don't know why the other government wants to get into wars, but fuck them.
All the time. The Democrats.
Yeah, they say they want to be the peaceful one, but they're okay waging war all over the world.
Peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier.
Only president
I'm pleased
that
to
has
say
ever
that as of yesterday, one day
not have a
before
war
I
under him during his
assumed
term.
office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families.
Ah, did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
Wasn't that crazy? It's like, oh, look, they're coming back home all of a sudden. I wonder why.
Dad's
I
home.
wonder why. Dad's home. Like, bring him back here, or you're gonna face the wrath of Dad.
He's like, stop your roughhousing. Come on, get it together.
America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs.
Yep.
Excellent.
President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal.
Through
We've
malaria.
been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made. And Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not
Mhm.
treated fairly in any way, shape, or form. And that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal. And we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
Take the sucker back,
Wow,
man.
that's huge
Push the
too.
Chinese out, man. I don't know why they did that, but take it fucking back, man.
Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together, we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free. The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching
Oh,
American astronauts
manifest
to
destiny.
plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
Woo!
I'd say something.
There he is. Elon.
He wants to go to Mars, man.
Yeah, he's like, woo.
Ambition
Oh, Tucker Carlson.
is the lifeblood of a great nation. And right now, our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken.
Wow. Isn't that refreshing? Heroism, exploration, the people
I
going
stand
into
before you
Mars.
now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together, they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America, promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. They're going to win like never before. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater than ever before. We will be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We will be prosperous. We will be proud. We will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was very powerful.
Yep. Better than the last one. I watched
Amazing.
the last one.
Ladies and gentlemen, performing America the Beautiful, please welcome the Armed Forces Corps.
Well, what do you
That
think?
was amazing, really great, powerful speech, an inaugural address that talked about things that were almost taboo during the other administration. Exploration, a heroic history, something to be proud of. You know, space exploration, the Faustian spirit of mankind. You know, pride in oneself and one's nation. I mean, isn't that's like refreshing, especially in this age of like where all these Western nations have been under such like terrible deconstructive challenge, even in our own country. I mean, those ideas he was expressing are pretty great, yeah, for the restoration of the heroic sensibility. I think it's great. Like, I think everybody's gonna. Oh, there's Carrie Underwood. I think.
Oh, yeah.
She's gonna sing.
She can sing.
Sorry.
She's singing now. Let's see. Was she singing now?
She's about to, I think.
You hear?
Nope.
Yeah. What's happening? Nope. Biden's thinking about sniffing her hair. Sorry.
Well, it's true.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
That's fair. That's a fair comment because we've seen all sorts of stuff.
He was looking at it.
He
was.
But, you know, he's such a pervert.
Yep. What's happening?
I'm not sure. I'm not getting any audio, but maybe they.
No, there's none. There's none at the moment. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, C-SPAN is just doing the raw feed, right?
Yeah. It's just the awkward silence where everyone just kind of gets organized. Oh, what's he doing? Oh, wait.
The words help me out here. Oh, beautiful.
There we go.
For spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for mountain majesties, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Nicely done. Wow. Oh, she did a good job. Good stuff.
Yeah, he did.
Good job, Carrie.
Married to a hockey player, I believe. Canadian hockey player.
Mike
you should mention.
Fisher.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Fisher will now introduce the benediction
Oh,
clergy.
and here's Senator Fisher. No relation.
Any relation? No relation.
I
Okay.
now call on Rabbi Ari Berman, Pastor Lorenzo Sewell, and Reverend Frank Mund to provide prayers of benediction.
What's benediction mean? It's like a blessing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I keep hearing benediction because I play World of Warcraft, and benediction's a spell. So I'm going to assume it's some kind of blessing. So
let us pray.
Yeah, it is a blessing. The utterance or bestowing
Almighty
of a
God,
blessing.
Your
Especially at the
prophet
end of a
Jeremiah
religious
walked
service.
the streets of Jerusalem and blessed its inhabitants with the Hebrew words, Baruch HaGever Asher Yiftach BaHashem. Blessed is the one who trusts in God. Thousands of years later, this great nation, which adopted these words as its motto, "In God we trust," stands at a moment of historic opportunity. Americans are searching for meaning. Our merciful Father, help us rise to meet this moment. Bless President Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance with the strength and courage to choose the right and the good. Unite us around our foundational biblical values of life and liberty, of service and sacrifice, and especially of faith and morality, which George Washington called the indispensable supports of American prosperity. Guide our schools and college campuses, which have been experiencing such unrest, to inspire the next generation, to pair progress with purpose, knowledge with wisdom, and truth with virtue. Hear the cry of the hostages, both American and Israeli,
which just got released, some of them, whoever's remaining,
acutely feels.
Very recently.
We are so thankful.
Like yesterday almost,
for the three young women who yesterday returned home. And pray that the next 4 years brings peace to Israel and throughout the Middle East. Almighty God, grant all Americans the opportunity to realize our shared dream of a life filled with peace and plenty, health and happiness, compassion and contribution. Stir within us the confidence to rise to this moment. For while we trust in God, God's trust is in us, the American people. America is called to greatness, to be a beacon of light and a mover of history. May our nation merit the fulfillment of Jeremiah's blessing, that like a tree planted by water, we shall not cease to bear fruit. May all of humanity experience your love and your blessing. May it be thy will, and let us say, Amen.
Let us pray for our 47th president. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that you gave our 45th and now our 47th president a millimeter miracle. We are grateful that you are the one that have
He ain't
called
kidding.
him for such a time as this, that America would begin to dream again. We pray that we would fulfill the true meaning of our creed, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. We pray that you use our president, that we will live in a nation where we will not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we are so grateful today that you will use our 47th president so we would sing with new meaning, my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and because America is called to be a great nation, we believe that you will make this come true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. Or from the mighty mountains of New York,
He's getting
let
into
freedom
this
ring.
big
From the
time.
heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania,
This is
let
really
freedom
evangelical, but
from the
Well,
snow-capped
okay.
Rockies
evangelical
of
is American,
Colorado,
right?
I know
let
it's very
don't-
freedom
American.
ring.
I
From the
don't think it comes
hilltops
from
of
anywhere else, really.
California.
No.
But God, we're asking you not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and every molehill in Mississippi, from every state, every city, every village, and every hamlet. And when we let freedom ring, we will be able to speed up that day where all of your children, black men and white men, Protestant and Catholic, Jew and Gentile, will be able to sing in the meaning of that old Negro spiritual, free at last. Free at last. Thank you, God Almighty. We are free at last. If you believe where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Come on, put your hands together and give your great God great glory.
Woo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think the previous one was this cool. The previous inauguration was this cool. It's been pretty cool to watch so far. Hasn't been dry. Hasn't been
Almighty and eternal
boring.
God,
Nope. Another
we gather here today in
denomination.
reverence, joined in our shared hopes and dreams for our beloved nation. In this sacred moment of the inauguration of President Donald J. Trump and Vice President
The
J.D.
Catholics.
Vance, we turn our hearts to you, seeking your divine assistance.
He sounds
and
a little
abundant
Irish.
blessings upon this pivotal moment in history. We come before you with profound gratitude for the many gifts you have bestowed upon our land. Thank you for the freedoms we cherish, for the strength of our communities, and for the resilience of our spirit. As our President and Vice President embrace their newly appointed roles, we humbly implore that your everlasting love and wisdom will envelop them. Grant them the clarity of mind to navigate the challenges that lie ahead, and the compassion to serve all citizens with fairness and integrity. May their hearts be filled with a giving spirit and sincere understanding for those whom they represent. May they be beacons of hope in times of uncertainty and prophetic voices in defending the dignity of all created life. We pray for a spirit of collaboration to flourish in our government and across our nation, fostering an environment where dialogue and heartfelt listening will prevail over division or discord. May each decision made by our President and Vice President reflect the values of justice and peace. As we embark on this new chapter, We also seek your comfort, O God, for those who feel lost or disheartened. In this time of transition, may your light shine upon them, reaffirming their belief in a brighter tomorrow. May we all strive to lift one another, supporting our fellow citizens with kindness and empathy, recognizing that together we can overcome any adversity. Grant us the strength to endure, the courage to face our fears, and the clarity to see the light that remains, even when
I missed
clouds
it.
of uncertainty may gather. Inspire our new leaders to be champions for the vulnerable and advocates for those whose voices are often silenced. May they pursue policies that promote the well-being of all, seeking to build bridges that will foster unity and belonging. As we stand witness to this inauguration,
There's the Texan.
we hold fast to the faith, to our faith in the goodness of each of us and the possibility of change. We trust that with your guidance, O God, our nation can move forward to a future filled with promise, prosperity, and understanding. And finally, we lift our hearts in gratitude for the beloved parents of President Trump. Without Mary and Fred Trump, this day would never be the miracle that has just begun. From their place in heaven, may they shield their son from all harm by their loving protection and give him the strength to guide our nation along the path that will make America great again. Let us go forth now with these words
I know, right?
of President Trump
Priest.
emblazoned on our hearts. As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail. We stand tall, we stand proud, because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God, and to God alone. Amen.
Nicely done.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for our national anthem.
Well, oh.
Can you say, o'er the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stars and bright stars o'er the perilous light of the
This is Christopher Dennis Macchio, an American tenor who specializes in classical crossover music.
Yeah, he's saying it on Saturday, I think, at some ball or something with the fireworks.
Yeah. He is a member of New York Tenors.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow. He's got a voice.
Hey, he's saluting. See that?
Yeah.
President's saluting, man.
Ah, nice one. Nicely sung.
Yep.
Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
All right. I don't know what's happening now.
I think the next thing on the agenda
Please remain at your seats while the
is
president
the
and official party depart the platform.
yeah, this is the honorary departure.
Right. The procession. Here we go. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, like what follows from this is the honorary departure. Following the swearing-in ceremonies, the outgoing president and first lady leave the capital to begin their post-presidential lives.
Yeah, we don't need to know about that.
Bye.
See you later, man.
Yeah.
See ya, Joe. Yeah, there he is.
Well,
I
there goes.
definitely.
That was
Yeah,
amazing.
I didn't. I wasn't a fan of Melania's blue dress because that's supposed to be what Jackie Manassas or Jackie Kennedy, I believe, wore that or similar dress, or it's supposed to look like that. That's what she wore in the last inauguration, I believe.
I'm not. I had this feeling that she was wearing a hat just to conceal her face a little bit, just in case for
Yeah, maybe a
security
little.
issues. But that's just me speculating.
I like
But
it though.
Me too. Yeah, that was really powerful, wasn't it? The ceremony, the inaugural address was really good, really powerful. It just marks a sea change in what we've become accustomed to, both in America and here in Canada. That self-flagellation, we're not proud of our country. We're all bad people. I mean, this is a watershed change in tone.
Well,
and that's what the
and
people need.
yeah.
And it's really
Well,
great.
that's what the world needs. And like you and I are Canadians, and here we are watching the American inauguration, and because I don't know, I hope that it influences us to change too, because
Me too.
we're not very far from the brink either, and all that.
And I think it's had an enormous impact here. And I think that with a revivified United States, it will revivify the entire Western world. And because if we like it or not, the United States is the linchpin of the West. If the United States goes down and off the cliff, we're all up the creek. We're screwed.
Well, we've experienced it in the last 4 years. A weak American president resulted in the last 4 years, and although a lot of people want to deny, like everything is so bad. I mean, what do we have here in Canada? We're facing tariffs. There's a lot of unemployment. We don't have a government at the moment,
and
right?
we're experiencing terrible crime, uncontrolled immigration, and all the societal unrest that flows from that. Demoralization. The cost of living is through the roof. Inflation. And hopefully, yeah, like you said, if we can use the momentum that's been created in the United States, we can follow on that momentum once we get our house in order up here, because a prosperous America will mean a prosperous Canada.
Oh, and we joke a lot by often. I remember I remember many years ago, I don't know if you remember the movie Team America World Police.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
we often joke that America is the world police. And you know what? It's like we joke about it, but then you think about it, it's like, well, who else do you want standing in that role? You definitely, I mean, what? England? Do you want England in that role? I mean,
Well, they
England's
can't.
about, well, they can't.
They can't do it anymore.
No, they don't have the influence or the power or the navy that they used to have and all that. You know, they're about as toothless. Even they're about as toothless as we are. I mean, we pretty much kowtow to every other powerful nation, both of us at this point. You know,
And yeah, Britain is in its own crisis. It's so much like our own, and it's at an accelerated point compared to, like, we're on the way to becoming Britain right now, but Britain is having all sorts of issues that we just outlined before. Like,
well, the England is no longer for the English, and you can feel
that's
that.
right. That's right. It's everyone there feels like a stranger in their own country, just like we do here. And they're being ruled by a government that hates them, that will throw them in jail if they make a bad social media post about Keir Starmer or whatever. That we've seen that most markedly in the last year, where people like grooming gangs, Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs, have been let to run amok in the major cities of Great Britain, and there's no political will to get rid of them or to stop it. And that the only will that's been the only, like, Elon Musk is one of the few people has shed light on the issue using X as a platform, and that's amazing. That's great news, and hopefully,
he's
the momentum.
He's even
will
calling
carry
it
over.
our governor.
Yeah, our governor. Yeah,
You know,
and that's the thing.
who's
Like,
no,
things are so bad here in Canada that a lot of us are like, no, if we have a choice between national populism in the form of Trumpism or the status quo, which is woke leftist communism, I would choose Trumpism. But I would prefer that, like, Pierre Poliver gets in here and rights the ship. That would be my dream, but I guess we'll see what happens.
I know, and this is what we're going to be covering, hopefully in the next coming months, that somehow our government's going to get on track and we're actually going to have a government again that actually cares about its people. Because right now, it's all about, well, yeah, because right now it's all about Trudeau. It's about Trudeau and his ego, and that's why we're here. That's why we're in the state that, 2 Canadians in, east of Canada is looking south, hoping that they get their effing act together. And that's what it's looking like.
Yeah.
And why are they giving us a view of the helicopter?
This is part of the ceremonial departure part of it.
Okay.
Or the honorary departure, I should say.
I'm not a fan of helicopters. I often find, I used to be really fascinated by them, but like, if you look at like the history of helicopters, I mean, it's basically, that's how Kobe died. Kobe Bryant. The basketball player.
That's right.
Yeah, died in a helicopter accident with his daughter.
You know what? That whole incident, I found I was reframing that whole incident in light of some of the Puff Daddy revelations. I was like, maybe I'm just speculating here, but I was like, maybe Kobe knew too much. And he was sent on a helicopter ride by shadowy figures. Who knows?
Seems a little suspicious. I don't know.
Doesn't it though?
But we're actually a little past our 2-hour mark, but let's just finish off with like the list here that we're hang on.
Sure. Can
you see that list? It's basically the Arc Daugherty one on X, where we were at.
Yeah. So these are the potential executive orders to be signed today. Today. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And we were on, what's that? We talked about remain in Mexico, catch and release. We got there. Military will be directed to construct new faces. Okay, so they're going to go like Trump said, who's going to send them down to start defending the border, because from what I saw last year, there was even a point where the governor of Texas had basically put those containers to block a section of the border that illegal immigrants were coming across. And FEMA had actually gone, I think it's FEMA or some government body, ICE or some border-related government, maybe the Border Patrol, basically they forced them to take down this wall of containers, of truck containers that block the border, and start taking in these immigrants and start pushing them in towards the inside of the borders.
And they were even selling off the materials too.
Yes. And Biden actually tried to do a fast one and sold the materials, but there are actually some companies who bought the materials and literally gave them back to the American government to complete the wall. This happened.
Absolute insanity and madness. And today it ends. And it's going to be so great.
I hope so.
And I just was going to say...
Go on.
Yeah, Weathers, I was just going to say that these executive orders, from my understanding, he's going to sign them during the signing ceremony. So the first official actions taken by the newly sworn president of the United States occur in the president's room just off the Senate chamber, and that's going to be later in the day.
Right.
After the departure of the former president and first lady, the new president gathers there with aides and members of Congress to sign nominations and sometimes memorandums, proclamations, or executive orders. This tradition began in 1981 with President Ronald Reagan. Prior to that time, nominations were often submitted to the Senate on Inauguration Day without ceremony. So we're going to see during the signing ceremony these many of these executive orders that we just outlined here signed into action, and that's going to be pretty awesome.
Right, and by that I think we mean like people like Pam Bondi, who's going to be the Attorney General, Kash Patel, who's going to be I think he was supposed to be director of the FBI or something like that.
Yes.
And a few others that I actually watched. Pete Hegseth as defense minister.
That's
or
right.
Defense secretary and all that. We didn't really talk about that, but I watched a lot of it, and it was really frustrating to watch. But hopefully they'll be signed on. They seem promising about carrying out Trump's orders. Really.
Yes, Secretary of Defense is Pete Hegseth. Pam Bondi is going to be Attorney General.
Mm-hmm.
Secretary of Agriculture, I don't know her. Brooke Rollins. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary of Health and Human Services.
That's going to be something to look at.
Yeah. And some other names like Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation. Chris Wright.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah,
I think Tulsi Gabbard's intelligence, right? I believe Secretary of Intelligence.
I believe so.
That's going to be. I like Tulsi Gabbard, and I kind of wish the Democrats had actually picked her up, and back when I was rooting for the left and all that, because I really liked what her ideas and stuff. If you wanted to see a capable woman, she's more than capable.
Yeah, she's slated to be the Director of National Intelligence. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and she was a former Democrat.
Yeah.
She was actually when Kamala was doing her first run for the presidency, like leadership of the Democratic Party during the 2020 election, she was the one who buried her in a debate and had basically brought up the fact that Kamala Harris was the DA who was basically extending the incarceration of pot smokers, essentially. Marijuana criminals who've been charged with marijuana possession, to basically build the roads of LA. Basically as slave labor.
Right.
Coming from a black woman. Or a supposed black woman.
Yeah.
Who grew up in Canada, in Montreal, in my city.
And who is dumb as a post.
We're going to be talking about that eventually in another episode or so. Let's see. Anything else of note in this list that we're still looking at? Terminate Biden orders on energy drilling, which, he has talked about.
And he addressed that in his inaugural address about drilling, leveraging American energy. That's great.
Because the alternative being that the Biden administration was basically buying fuel and leeching off the reserves of fuel they were keeping for a rainy day, right?
Yep. And curbing, and that's the key to future wealth, is the availability of affordable fuel for the citizenry and all of those other uses for it, right? And that's something that the Biden, Harris, and even the Trudeau government here have been, they've been like wedded to this pathological green energy ethos that's killing us.
Well, they say that we're going to be self-sufficient on this green energy, and meanwhile they're just buying oil from their enemies like Venezuela, Iran, and that happened,
and it's
during the last administration, and leeching off of reserves specifically for a rainy day. You shouldn't be leeching off of your national reserves of oil when you're not in a state of emergency. But apparently, there was an emergency. Like they didn't want to buy oil or produce oil in the United States or buy it from Canada.
Oh, you froze. Did I freeze?
Yeah, you froze a little bit.
Oh, you
there
froze
you are.
there for a second.
You're back.
Okay.
You're back. So there was
I'm back.
maybe a little bit of all good.
A little bit of a hiccup.
Yeah, a little bit. But
That's okay.
What else we got here? Return federal workers to in-person work.
Interesting.
Yeah. So no more working from home for especially people of the government, because they were having problems with this, especially during Congress and voting for stuff, right?
Yeah.
Voting from home and all that stuff.
And we had
It was
a
bit of
similar
fiasco.
problem here. We had
Yes.
exactly the same problem here with the public service during COVID, post-COVID, and it was a sticking point with public service workers in Canada.
Well, that's basically how the Trudeau government schlepped a lot of the policies through. That they would hold the vote at inopportune times of the day or night to push policies through, and they did that on the Biden government had done that themselves too, and I've watched a few of them.
All these issues.
Pause all offshore wind leases.
Good.
The failed wind energy attempt.
And we talked about that 2 shows ago about the failure of wind energy in our country. It just doesn't work.
Next one, and DEI hiring practices in the federal government. Thank fucking God.
Excellent.
And not what, it's not the thing where no blacks here, no Hispanics here, only white. No, it's sort of like you're here because you're black and not because you can actually do the job. None of that.
Meritocracy. Do you have the qualifications?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you actually remember to fill reservoirs on top of a hill so that the fire hydrants below actually have pressure to put up fires?
Can you build the rocket? Yes or no?
Well, here's the deal. Talking about rockets and Elon Musk, I mean, how is it that SpaceX, right, is now the new NASA when they have NASA? NASA hasn't done anything in the past 2 decades.
Funny thing, right? Funny thing, because NASA went away from space exploration towards DEI, and sure enough, the space exploration capacity of NASA atrophies. Oh, is it a coincidence? No.
Well, the thing I didn't quite understand about the whole space exploration, especially like going to the moon. They haven't gone to the moon because apparently they lost the technology to cross the radiation barrier that surrounds Earth.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? You did it before? I mean, what do you mean you lost the technology?
Sometimes you just lose stuff, you could throw in the garbage, it gets, mothballed.
Put it in a cardboard box, it gets rained on, someone leaves it out, in the rain, all the paper, because they didn't have digital paper back then apparently, so stuff gets kind of ruined and wilted, and paper's gone. So I guess we don't know how to do it.
These things happen. We're being facetious, of course, because but amazing.
Withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
Yes.
A lot of people think like, oh my God, we're gonna ruin the environment again, And what is the Paris Climate Accord? I think, from my point of view, all the Paris Climate Accord ever does really is it penalizes basically the Western world and lets everyone else do whatever the F they want regarding
That's my
pollution.
understanding. It's less about the environment and more about a wealth transfer scheme,
Yeah, and
sending money and crippling the West. And they're just
and
going to get out of it, and I'm glad.
yeah, and notice that he dropped out of it his last presidency. Biden had brought the Americans back into the Paris Accord, and now he's dropping it again. I hope he's dropping it again.
That's a great move.
Because the only thing that the Paris Climate Accord benefits is China.
Yeah, and that's by
That's
design. That's by design,
that's
and
the only country
that's deliberately done. And that's a great move. Get out of it. Like, instead of being handcuffed as far as energy production is concerned, just take off the cuffs and get rolling again. That's what we should be doing too here in Canada.
Order every agent to remove federal actions increasing costs for Americans via deregulation.
Okay.
So I guess removing the extra layer of government. Yeah, like DEI policies, possibly, for example.
Yeah, or undue environmental regulation, whatever the case may be.
Restricting building, restricting like drill baby drill and all that shit. Suspend security clearances for 51 officials who lied about the Hunter Biden laptop in 2020.
Excellent.
So what's the deal with that? I think you found something on that, right?
Well, just all these intelligence officials they've probably forced into signing this thing in order to discredit the story about Hunter Biden's laptop and all of its contents, and to revoke their clearance because they're no longer worthy of it. Yeah.
No, they lied. They basically said that this was bullshit.
Even though it was legitimate and it had all sorts of compromising stuff on it, from depravity to collusion with the Ukrainians, corruption, kickbacks to the big guy, Joe Biden himself, Hunter Biden using drugs, engaging in terrible sexual acts and stuff like that and all the rest of it.
Well, the most gross being not even the sexual acts, but the whole idea that Joe Biden is like a corporate criminal. Who's been basically using American policy to forward his pocketbook. Yeah. He was basically selling his influence on policy in America to their enemies. And I don't know why they don't charge this guy with treason. Because that's pretty treasonous and all.
Oh, yeah. By rights, he should be. I mean, we could probably spend a whole show on the Hunter Biden laptop story and all of its implications. But I mean,
well, all these people you see on just this picture alone, they basically signed off on a false document.
Yep.
And these are supposed to be the source of intelligence.
And they did that multiple times.
Yes,
not just with Hunter's laptop, but with the Steele dossier and all these other things. So yeah, that's a good move as well.
Yeah, and thank God. So
part of cleaning the swamp, draining the swamp.
Well, hopefully this time around he won't miss. Trump and his administration won't miss this time.
I think
because I know last time they just met with all kinds of resistance.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Like even within his own administration and government.
Oh right? Yeah, I mean that was part of one of the biggest battles was dealing with all the elements within the Republican Party that didn't want him there.
Yep. And we're getting down to, and this is just a fraction of the 200 plus executive orders he'll be apparently signing today. So what's the last two? Suspend. Yeah, we did that, and establish Doge hiring freeze.
Oh, that's going to be great. So they're going to curb the number of people hired by the federal government because big government in the United States is getting bigger. We're suffering from the same malaise here in Canada. Our public service is bloated and needs to be cut with a figurative battle axe. They could take a battle axe to it and save billions. And same with the
I
United
think
States.
they got a pro on it. They got Elon Musk, who
Yeah.
basically went to Twitter, bought it, eliminated 80% of his staff, and it's working fine today.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people thought he was killing Twitter, but Twitter seems to be working fine now.
They were so much dead weight to cut. And it's so amazing that here in Canada, talking about cutting is almost like anathema. It's almost like a taboo topic for these public officials. They can't even talk about it almost.
Well, I mean,
even though
they
it needs
employ
to get
the public
done.
servants. They
Even though it
employ
needs
public
to get
servants.
done.
Well, that's the problem. Like, a lot of these people are rely on that work. You know, basically being like another layer on top of the population. That
it's part of their power base.
Yeah.
As well, like the public sector power base is inexorably linked to the Liberal Party. The only people that have the guts to cut anything are these right-wing parties, and even they don't even do it sometimes because they just get absolutely excoriated in the press. It's like a fight. But Trump, oh my goodness, he's actually talking about these things, these issues that were taboo like 10 years ago. I don't know, it's amazing. Well, it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to be a source of conflict, and it's going to be really tumultuous going forward, but it's going to be very exciting to see what he ends up doing.
I don't know. I get the feeling that things are a lot brighter. I mean, compared to the last time Trump came into power and all that. So I'm looking forward to the next few weeks for sure. You know.
Me too.
And hopefully, you know, like rising tides brings up all ships and all that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, with Trump in power south of us, things will start moving here.
I think they will. And yeah, I get that sense too, that even people in Britain, people in like the Anglosphere in Europe, a lot of people are getting that hope back that, you know, we're not all doomed. You know, Western civilization, maybe we've, you know, stopped the, you know, that collapse or that jump off the cliff fiscally and culturally and all the rest of it. It's almost like there's hope for the future.
You're right. I mean, for the last decade, really, at least in Canada, I mean, you're right. I felt like the whole country is about self-flagellation.
Yeah.
You know?
It's about denigrating
apologizing
our past.
for everything. I mean, yeah, exactly. Taking down statues, apologizing for
everything
things that maybe your ancestors have done, but have no influence on you, and blaming a lot of the evils on basically the white populace, really, and more specifically the white male populace.
Yeah.
You know,
and this address today is like a watershed change. Like it's a reversal of that sentiment, I think. Like we're going to explore again. We're going to work again. We're going to hope again. We're going to be great again. You know, it's really heroic sounding. It's like, it's amazing.
Well, I don't know if you saw that meme. I should have probably cut up that meme for the show, but the whole thing about Trump going, we're going to keep winning, and then you're going to keep saying, well, we're winning too much, and then he says, no, we're not winning enough. We got to keep winning. We're going to keep winning until you're tired of it. It's like, yeah, that's the way we should be, man.
That's what I'm going to do, Weathers. That's what I'm going to do. From now on, I'm going to set up my schedule of winning. So every day, 7 a.m. till 12 noon, I'm going to be winning. Then at lunchtime, winning. And then my afternoon, I'm going to be winning from, 1 till 5. And then break for supper. And then more winning in the evening. And you wake up and you win some more.
We got to keep winning because anything is better than what we're in now here.
That's right.
And there's, I mean, I know we probably sound like a bunch of ingrate Canadians, and all that. I know probably that perception might be, especially with some of the people who watch the show, some of the people we know and all that. But I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of apologizing for being male. I'm tired of apologizing for being part of the Western world. I'm tired of hearing apologies from white people, for all kinds of things that they have no influence on, other than the fact that they're white.
That's right.
Had enough of it.
Me too.
But
I'm not saying
yeah,
sorry for anything because we didn't do anything.
no, you should. No, I mean everything should be, the content of your character and what you do now, not what some person you have no relation to, but other than blood, like many years ago, long dead. It's like there's no reason why you should apologize to me for being a cruel white person who enslaved black people.
The past is a different country. They do things
is.
differently there, and it's has no bearing on what we're doing now.
Exactly.
Or what we're
Anyhow,
going to do now.
We are
Anyway,
at
you know what I mean.
the 2-hour 40 mark. We're almost going on 3 hours, but we won't go that far. I think this is the end of this show. Any parting thoughts you want to put in there before we actually can it?
Well, I'm just really inspired. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna
Keep
win,
winning.
and we're gonna win. We're gonna keep winning, and then we're gonna do our next show, and it's gonna be very exciting. I don't know. I just feel invigorated.
Well, we're gonna have a lot to talk about in the coming weeks, and like I said, we're going to start steering towards hopefully our Canadian elections, and maybe Canadians can start winning from this point on.
And we'll
and
talk
get
a
rid
little
of our
bit.
loser government and our loser governor and whatnot.
Yeah. And we'll clean house. And we'll talk a
So
little
other
bit
than
more about that stuff.
Yeah, go.
And
Yeah.
We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the implications of American tariffs and Canadian tariffs and stuff like that. And it's going to be really, really fun and interesting and crazy going forward. But may you live in interesting times.
I think we already are. Just they should be more positive, and I think even starting today, I'm inspired too. I'm really inspired after watching all this.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, anything you want to add? Do you finally have a Twitter handle?
No, I don't. But I will.
Get it before the next Canadian election.
I will before the next show. I promise.
All right, that's cool. Once again, thank you for joining us, for watching the inauguration and just listening to us silly Canadians talk about our neighbors south of us on this cold day. I'm Weathers.
I'm Mikerowaveable. Thank you, Weathers. That was fun.
Cheers, all. Thanks for following us, and we'll be back next week on Wednesday or Hump Day at 4:20.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all. Thanks for joining us. Cheers.